This is a Dayton 24/7 Now Code Red weather alert.
Like you just heard, we are under a code red weather alert tonight. We want to give you a live look right now. This is a live look from our first warning weather vehicle. You can see the roadways are wet. There are some raindrops on the windshield, so maybe things have slowed down just a little bit. But let's send it right over to Chief Meteorologist Natalie Walters, who's been tracking this storm system for us coming into the area.
Yeah, and you're right, with a lot of the rain now moving out of the region, colder air is sliding in and a few snowflakes are going to be around the area overnight as we continue to see these temperatures drop. Big story tonight, though, is going to be the strong winds. That's why we do have a code red weather alert for this evening. Gusts up to 50 miles per hour tonight into our day on Saturday, mainly for our northern counties. Could see a few slick spots develop as we look overnight. Any ponding out on the roads could ice over, as well as temperatures that are a little light snowfall making its way in. That could make a small impact as well. Bridges and overpasses, you'll want to watch out for that. And then below zero wind chills. That's the big story heading into next week, because it is going to get very, very cold. Radar right now showing a lot of that rain pushing off to the east, and then drier air, slightly drier air settling in with a few snowflakes around. Wind advisory going to be through 7 p.m. tomorrow. Latest wind gusts up to about 30 miles per hour, but we'll continue to see those strengthen. Already looking at that colder air sliding in, 36 in Richmond. Few snow showers overnight, dropping to 25. Very windy. Have a look at the rest of the week coming up in just a bit.
And with these freezing temperatures, everyone, of course, will be taking extra steps to keep warm. Lydia Bice spoke to the Dayton Fire Department and a local heating and air company to bring you some extra tips to stay safe while warming your home.
Now, warming your home obviously comes with turning on your furnace like this one right here, but some people also like to use space heaters to keep warm. Now, if the winter storm gets too bad and your power goes out, a lot of people use generators as well. That's why today I went to the Dayton Fire Department and Logan AC and Heat Services to get some tips on staying safe and keeping your home safe while also staying warm. Now, here are the tips they provided us with. Number 1, replace your furnace's filter every month to get the best airflow. Number 2, keep space heaters at least 3 feet away from anything else. And number 3, when it comes to generators, the biggest concern is carbon monoxide. So make sure that your carbon monoxide alarms and fire alarms are all up to date.
Always at the top of that list is smoke alarms. We want to make sure that we have smoke alarms on each level of our home, smoke alarms inside sleeping areas, and at least one smoke alarm outside each sleeping area as well, hallways, things like that.
Captain French also says that another key safety measure is to sleep with your bedroom door closed. That way, if a fire does break out in your home, you have that bedroom door closed to prevent the smoke and fire from getting into your sleeping area. Now, a lot of our viewers at home may not know this, but the Dayton Fire Department will actually come to your home and help you install both smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors. For more information on this, you can go to daytonohio.gov/fire safety. Back to you.
Lydia, thank you. And like Natalie said just moments ago, it is going to be a cold and windy weekend. So the city is opening up 3 warming centers. They're going to be at the 3 recreation centers, of course, the Greater Dayton, the Low Ray, and Northwest. And they'll also be open Saturday from 9 to 4 and then Tuesday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. If you need help outside of those hours, St. Vincent de Paul has 2 shelters open 24/7. Women and families can go to West Apple Street. Men can go to South Gettysburg Avenue. We have all this information at Dayton247now.com. and this web story there, you're going to find those addresses, hours, and tips from AES to be ready for this weather system. And now let's give you a live look at AES Ohio's outage map at this hour. It's actually gone down in the past hour or so. 149 people left in the dark tonight, and we can actually see that there were customers, or most of the outages in the area are due to downed power lines caused by the severe weather. Earlier today, more than 2,600 customers were without power, and we expect more outages as strong winds continue through the weekend. To report an outage in your area, you can visit their website at aes-ohio.com. You can also help us tell the story of the storm by sharing your pictures with us this weekend. So if it's safe to do so, please send them in to us. It's easy to do. Take out your phone, scan that QR code you see there on your screen. That's going to take you to the Dayton 24/7 Now app. There, you can click on Explore and press Chime In. We'll share your photos here on air and online. Tonight, the search is on for a suspect who shot and killed a man near a local elementary school. The shooting happened in a parking lot near the Greater Dayton Rec Center and Roosevelt Elementary. Dayton Police Major, Brian John says they're still looking for a suspect.
We're not really sure what caused that shooting, but we do have one male deceased, and we have a canine track taking place now trying to find some suspects who fled the scene.
John says there's no injuries were reported at the school and everything was safe and sound. The shooting remains under investigation. Police are also investigating a school bus crash, in Trotwood today. Dispatchers say that crash happened at the intersection on Camelot Road and Free Pike. When officers got to the scene, they say a Trotwood school bus had been rear-ended by another vehicle. Both vehicles suffered minor damage and no one was hurt. As of right now, no charges have been filed, but this is an ongoing investigation. And now to a Dayton 24/7 Now exclusive interview. Today, our Lydia Bice sat down to talk one-on-one with Dayton Police Chief Cameron Afzaal. She asked why he thinks there is such a big increase in Dayton crime between 2022 and 2023, and if he thinks his department's staffing issues contributed to those numbers.
Back in December, I did a story on DPD having some staffing problems now. And do you think that maybe those staffing problems have kind of played a role in that crime increase just with not having as many officers out on the road?
I think staffing is definitely an issue. I mean, for my concern from a staffing perspective is more about a lot of the violent crime that occurs in the city and how do we get a control of that. Actually, we've done even with a lot of issues that we have, we've done a decent job of that. I'm not happy that, I think our violent crime numbers are down from last year overall, but they're still too high from my perspective, especially from the background that I had.
Now you can find that full exclusive interview with Chief Afzaal, who answers more questions about crime rates in our city and the future of the Dayton Police Department in the web version of this story at Dayton247now.com. It is Fly Into the Hoop weekend at Trent Arena. Players, coaches, scouts, and fans come from all corners of the state and country to spend the weekend at a nationally ranked high school basketball showcase. Gwen Falloon is live tonight in Kettering. Now, Gwen, you mentioned earlier this tournament draws in thousands of people. How does that actually impact the local economy?
Elise, we are looking at least $1 million. Now, that's according to the Fly Into the Hoop president, Eric Horseman. Now, what started as something small about 20 years ago, it has actually grown into something that is recognized across the U.S. This year, I'm told there are 35 competing teams, some coming from as far as North Carolina and even Arizona. But as you mentioned, it is not just the coaches and the athletes that are participating. It's the fans, scouts, and even refs who are spending time as well as their money here in Dayton.
Staying at the Marriott, eating at restaurants, going to the gas stations, getting provisions at the the grocery stores. So it's kind of nice to know that we have that kind of an impact during the weekend, knowing that I live here myself and knowing that January, Dayton is not a tourist destination.
So with all of these people in town, are our local restaurants and businesses seeing a boost?
Yes, Elise, they are. I spoke briefly with Mama de Salvo's. That's an Italian restaurant just around the corner from Trent Arena. And they told me that they had several large parties on their reservation book tonight, most of which actually had out-of-area phone numbers. Now, the city of Kettering, they also say its local businesses, they actually look forward to serving new as well as returning customers each year during this weekend. But this weekend, it's actually just getting kicked off. You still have 3 more days of basketball left to see and enjoy games. They actually start first thing tomorrow morning at 11:30, and these doors will actually open about an hour before at 10:30. So coming up here in just a few minutes, Matt Digby actually has highlights from the very first 2 matchups of this year's tournament, but I will send things back to you for now.
Ohio House candidate and Oregon District mass shooting survivor Dion Greene is now facing OVI charges tonight.
I'm gonna make sure you don't have any weapons on you, okay? So go and put your hands up on the car, okay? I'm gonna pat you down for my safety.
Hold on.
Stop. This is not going to go good for you if you
know
keep
I
it
am?
going.
Do you know I
I
am?
don't care. I'm going to make sure you don't have weapons on you that can harm me.
But I'm saying,
okay.
Let me put my hands up. Don't.
All right.
Don't
Just
force.
put your hands behind your back. Then.
Don't force me, brother.
You're going to be detained.
Don't force me, brother.
Stop.
On December 19th, Dayton police arrested Greene after they say he hit a parked car and tried to leave the scene. No one was hurt. This happened in a parking lot in downtown Dayton across from the hub. Greene was arrested and reportedly refused field sobriety test. He was arraigned last month and pleaded not guilty. He'll be back in court January 18th. And we reached out to Greene. This is what he had to say. He said, quote, "When all the facts are known, I'm looking forward to this being resolved in my favor." Greene is running against Representative Phil Plummer for House District 39. The Montgomery County Board of Elections will hold a hearing next Tuesday regarding the challenge to Mary McDonald's candidacy. That'll take place at the BOE office on West 3rd Street at 1:30 in the afternoon. A protest was filed by bipartisan voters earlier this month to remove McDonald from the Republican primary ballot. Now she's running for County Commissioner Debbie Lieberman's seat. 2 months ago, McDonald, the former mayor of Trotwood for 8 years, was a Democrat and lost that position. She's an elected Democrat Party precinct captain and didn't resign before filing as a Republican. So voters say she failed to follow election laws when switching parties. McDonald says, quote, "I'm looking forward to the Montgomery County Board of Elections settling this matter so that we can get on with allowing the voters to choose their next county commissioner." Tonight, federal prosecutors seek a death penalty for the white supremacist who murdered shoppers at a supermarket. What family members of the victims have to say about the penalty. And the U.S. and U.K. launching new strikes against Iran-backed rebels, what the National Security Council says is an obligation for the Biden administration.
And code red weather alert due to the wind tonight and then eventually below zero wind chills in the forecast. When we're expecting those, that's coming up. Here's a live look from our Eco Plumber Skycam. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
winter storm is now piling snow over the plains and Midwest regions today. As you can see here behind me in Rapids, Iowa, the roads there were almost completely covered this morning. The National Weather Service is saying the storm is expected to bring heavy snow and blizzard conditions throughout the Midwest and the Great Lake region over the weekend. Back here in our area now, we want to give you a live look from our roadways. This is from our first warning weather vehicle. We've got some strong winds tonight, and we did have some rain coming down, but it looks like that rain is starting to stop a little bit. So let's send it over to Chief Meteorologist Natalie Walters, who's been tracking this system for us.
Yeah, the rain has moved its way off to the east. Still a couple of lingering showers, but eventually we'll see some snow showers moving through the area. Winds, big story for tonight, haven't been terribly strong, but they are expected to increase overnight by early tomorrow morning. This is about 11 a.m. tomorrow, so potentially some wind gusts upwards of 45, maybe even close to 50 miles per hour, especially our northern counties. So still very windy. On top of that, it's going to be getting colder, so we will be worrying about that wind chill by early tomorrow morning, and then the winds calm just a little bit by late into the day on Saturday. So our wind chill is something that we're going to be certainly focused on by this weekend. Right now it feels like 35, but notice in India it feels like 12 right now. It feels like minus 41 in Billings, and we're going to continue to see this Arctic air take over. So we'll say goodbye to these 40s for a while, because once that cold air moves in, it's sticking around with us for about a week. By Sunday 1 a.m. single digits, but waking up to Sunday morning more than 10 to 15 degrees below zero.
We now know tonight federal prosecutors are seeking the death penalty for the white supremacists who murdered shoppers in a Buffalo supermarket. 20-year-old Peyton Gendron is already serving a life sentence. Now, New York doesn't actually have the death penalty, but the Justice Department is seeking it on federal hate crimes charges. Some victims' family members support the penalty while others don't.
As far as I'm concerned, I think he's getting off the hook getting the death penalty. Else he won't get that suffering that I want. As long as I'm alive, whether God gives me 20, 30, or 60 years, I want to be able to see him to suffer. I'm not necessarily disappointed in the decision. I just would have preferred it be a lot. It would have satisfied me knowing more. He would have spent the rest of his life in prison, being surrounded by the population of people he tried to kill.
10 black people were killed in the massacre, including the mother of the man you just heard from. And tonight in Yemen, the U.S. and U.K. launched new strikes against the Iran-backed rebels Houthis after weeks of attacks in the Red Sea.
These attacks have got to stop. And we're talking about one of the most important international waterways in the world.
National Security Council spokesperson John Kirby calls the airstrikes against Houthi targets in Yemen last night self-defense. These strikes were in response to multiple attacks in the Red Sea by Yemen's Houthi rebels since the beginning of the Israel-Hamas war. Kirby says the administration is working to keep the situation from escalating. And a live look right now from our Eco Plumber Skycam over the Gem City tonight. Back out here in the Weather Center, we really want to send things over right now to Chief Meteorologist Natalie Walters, because we've kind of got this thing brewing, I feel like.
Yeah, it's really sitting right over us currently, and then big changes underway. So we've seen the rain already starting to transition to some snow back off to our west, but most of the rain is done with, and we'll see a few light snow showers overnight, potentially quick dusting of snow as this very strong area of low pressure makes its way off to the northeast, bringing us also those strong winds. Again, this has big impacts, not just for us, but pretty much the entire United States, with also that cold air taking over too. So overnight, early tomorrow morning, we'll see a couple of snow showers around. Temperatures will be in the 20s, so we do have the potential for that to stick to the ground pretty quickly out there. So certainly want to be extra cautious. Bridges and overpasses will stay in the 20s and then eventually dropping into the teens by late tomorrow, with the wind chills even colder than that. Even a few snow showers late tomorrow evening for our southern counties by our late tomorrow for areas along and south of I-70. That's possible. Again, quick dusting, and then waking up to single digits for our Sunday. Feels like temperatures well below zero, and we are going to stay cold next week. So I'll have a look at our 7-day coming up in just a bit.
New information about the cybersecurity breach from the Ohio Lottery, what led to it, and how you can protect your personal information next. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now. Community leaders across the Maumee Valley are joining together to combat hunger in our area. The Super Bowl of Caring is helping, I should say, to eliminate child hunger. Our partners will be accepting food and monetary donations throughout the area. Those donations will then be distributed to 3 local organizations. We've got the Food Bank for Love of Children, or FLOC, and the House of Bread. You can contribute by taking out your phone and scanning the QR code to make a donation. The donation drive ends February 12th. And we're learning more tonight about the cybersecurity breach from the Ohio Lottery. We now know a third party may have gotten access to customer and retailer data. The lottery is now asking anyone who may have been affected to monitor their credit for any fraudulent activity. You can reach out to any of these 3 credit bureaus, Equifax, Experian, or TransUnion. They can help protect your personal information. An investigation is ongoing. And it is time now for our question of the day. For today's question, we want to know, are elected politicians doing enough to control the national debt? Share your opinion by voting on this poll at Dayton247now.com. Click on the question of the day heading in the news tab. And the results are in for yesterday's question. We asked, do you think kids suffered learning loss during the COVID-19 pandemic? Of the more than 9,000 votes, 94% of you said yes, 6% said no.
Dayton Flyers men's basketball going for a 10th straight win, a milestone they have not reached in several years. Could they get the job done on the road at Duquesne? You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.